Hello my friends, and straight to the business. Ukraine launched a massive strike on occupied territory of Donetsk and Luhansk, exactly in the city facilities. Yeah, it's not the residential area which was hit out there, but the objectives which could be used by the Russian military. We have the information from different channels that, for example, this facility was hit. This is the Institute for the Rare Metals. Yeah, it is there. But as it is reported, the building was used by the Russian military and it was partially kaboomed. Well, actually there were multiple of the kabooms. I'm still waiting for more information of what exactly was hit. Ukraine tries to respond on Russian attacks which are happening regularly. Every night Russia hits Ukraine infrastructure. Also, kabooms were reported in Rostov Oblast. I'm still gathering more evidence about that. The Kerch Bridge is closed because of the drone activity in Crimea, and some of the airfields on territory of Russia also ceased their operation. And this is Donetsk. Something was hit there, but it's not the residential building. Russian military bloggers are saying that Ukraine not just launched the kamikaze drones, but also some of the missiles, unknown missiles. Now I would say that Ukrainian army would never use missiles just randomly for waste. No, it means that the targets were really important. Right guys, about the front lines updates, we have the information coming from the Sumy region. The fight is now ongoing for Alexeyevka village. Ukraine started one more counterattack, I guess, from two of the directions from the previously liberated Andriivka, or what was left from that village. So hopefully in the coming couple of days we'll receive positive news about Alexeyevka. According to my information, Russians started to move their forces out from the village. They are unable to hold there. And we also have the evidence which was shared yesterday. And let me show you this image which Russian soldiers filmed. So those Russian soldiers, they are happy. Like, I'll turn off the sound for you, because yeah, I watched this video before. I can explain what happened. So this guy is telling, we made it out from the place, and this is Sumy region. There were many of the forces, but they were trapped by Ukrainian army. They couldn't leave their positions simply because the supply lines were cut, and they stayed the place for a very long time, for almost 1 month, without proper supplies, without proper water, food, and somehow they managed to get out. This bird guy says that there were 14 people from their company who went into positions. 2 soldiers were zeroed by Ukrainian fire, 6 soldiers were wounded by Ukrainian fire, 1 soldier on the way back decided to zero himself. So from 14 people, 5 remain in good condition to continue the fight. And obviously they will be sent to the mid-wave attacks. And here guys, again we see some sort of the swastika in a different style. So then they say they're Nazis in Ukraine. They wear the same stuff. Yeah, it's the different style of swastika, I would say. To minimize their losses, Russians continue to put nets over the roads which they use for supplies. Yeah, this measure could be effective, but not always, and they cannot do it elsewhere. Like, for example, this is the end of this road. One more new feature which was discovered recently by Russians and implemented are those smart watches which show the FPV attack, possible FPV attack. It seems like they have some of the antennas, radars which analyze the signal and give the information to the Russian soldiers. With the fiber optic cable drones, I guess it will not work. Oh, this guy is not happy at all. It is happening in Azerbaijan, Baku. This guy is one of the directors of Sputnik, Russian propaganda TV. He has been detained together with some of the other employees. They are accused of working for the Russian FSB. Indeed, it is usually happening like that Russian TV works for Russian FSB. Their internal affairs as well, they gather information from outside in Azerbaijan, they spread the pro-Russian propaganda, and finally we see a prompt move from the ex-Soviet Republic Azerbaijan. They show how to deal with those propagandists. But again, it's the reaction on the outlaw actions done by Russia itself against Azerbaijani on its own territory. Tensions between Azerbaijan and Russia start to rise once again after Russian police detained several Azerbaijani men, which led to the life loss of 2 of Azerbaijani citizens. Well, the Russian law enforcement authorities initially say that they arrested the ethnical criminal group linked to the murders from the early 2000s. So totally 50 people were arrested. 2, as I said to you, lost their lives because of the arrest. What kind of the arrest is this? Then people lose their lives. Police did not acknowledge any deaths until later. Then Russian Investigate Committee said Monday that one of men appeared to died. 2 already. 2. Because we have the information from Azerbaijani media about 2 bodies. After what happened, Azerbaijani Culture Ministry on Sunday cancelled all Russian-linked concerts, exhibitions and festivals. The Parliament of Azerbaijan also pulled out a scheduled bilateral meeting in Moscow. Also, they cancelled the visit of the Russian Deputy Prime Minister. My friends, by the way, if you want to support the job that I do here almost every day, you're very welcome to my Patreon. The link for my Patreon page I'll put just in the video description below. Thank you so much for your kind support. And by the way, if you don't have opportunity to support me on Patreon, you may just press your huge like to the video and also subscribe for the channel, because that is how you show YouTube algorithms that this video is interesting for you, so YouTube promotes it elsewhere. Thank you so much for it. And also, guys, I want to recall how Russia shut down Azerbaijani jet Embraer 190 a few months ago. I went deep into this topic, discovering what happened. The airplane basically was shut down over Chechnya. The main aircraft systems were cut completely by the shrapnel particles, including some of the electrical systems. Even the electrical actuator of the stabilizer control was not working because cables were cut, so no hydraulic, no cables. The airplane continued to fly just with the help of 2 engines. Unfortunately, in this case, it's the crash landing, and it's really a miracle that some of the passengers survived this crash, aviation accident, or it's better to say a terror attack done by Russia. Yeah, probably they've done it by mistake, as they did towards Malaysian aircraft Boeing 777, which they shut down over Ukraine, MH17, you remember it. But not in that case, nor in this one. Russia doesn't want to take responsibility, and it is very annoying. Despite having facts that the airplane was shut down, Putin is still calm, Russia is still calm, and Azerbaijan has full right to kick Russians' FSB asses out of its country. And finally, guys, I see it is happening, so Aliyev does nice job out there with the Russian FSB. Also, I think that backup from Turkey works well, so Azerbaijan now has at least someone to protect it. I'm sure that one day Russia will be punished. All of their government officials, everything will be settled according to the justice. Russia did horrible stuff not just to Ukraine but to other neighbors, and not only neighbors. Like, for example, MH17 was flying from Netherlands, so there were many Dutch people on board. Now it's Azerbaijan, Ukraine, before it was Georgia, Moldova, Chechnya, Syria, so the list is quite long. Okay, so Azerbaijani TV also say that Putin is basically a loser in Ukraine, that Putin sees Azerbaijan as secondary state, as the secondary nation. Russia has imperialistic ambitions. It is coming from the Russian Empire, Soviet Union, and they see us as their slaves. Guys, the same attitude Russia has towards Ukrainians. And for the nations of Caucasus, Russia has, I would say, even special attitude. They have racism, they have xenophobia, especially then there was the Chechen war. Russians, they just hate those people from Caucasus. They do even now, but now they hate Ukrainians more because of the war. They have like special slur words for every sort of the nationality, and they use it all the time. So this guy who was telling that, he actually told truth. This guy also told that Russia helped Armenia to occupy some of the territories of Azerbaijan. Well, he stated like that, and definitely Russia supported Armenia in that operation back in 90s. I'm speaking about the war in Karabakh, and we know what happened like a couple of years ago. Then Azerbaijan returned those territories back. I was surprised that Aliyev was going for the May 9th celebration, but after all, at the very last moment, he cancelled his visit. Well, he did a right thing, I would say. After your airplane being shut down by Russia, to go for their parade. It looks not so good, but finally he made the decision not to go. Nice. So yeah, Russia is losing its influence in Caucasus, in Armenia, in Azerbaijan. They both turn away from Russia. It is understandable. Plus, if I speak about Central Asia, there now China wants to expand its influence more. So Russia is not that big player any longer, and it happened also because of the war in Ukraine. It will be like a nail, the final nail into the coffin of this Russian project of new empire. Guys, more news from the front lines. Despite the good situation for Ukraine in Sumy region, Russia continued their attacks in eastern Ukraine. For example, in Velika Novosilka direction. So the change there is quite big for the last 24 hours, yesterday and today, you may see. Then Russians occupied Velika Novosilka. They started multiple vector attacks. So they created those pockets for Ukrainian army. You might see this big gray area. It means that Ukraine is forced to leave the positions. I already know what that area means here. And Ukraine is just forced to move to the new defense spots. The terrain here is not that difficult. There are some of the water obstacles, like for example here and here, but I'm quite concerned because Russia already penetrated the water obstacle and they're in Pidubna village. You may see it's in a gray zone. Maybe it's the small sabotage group deployed by Russians, maybe not. So one river goes like this over here, the other river which comes from this one goes like that. And I see the idea for Russia to attack from two of the directions and to close those pockets, to occupy this vast part of the territory, and that is how they might create one more pocket over here where Ukraine was actually successful here, so they want to strike Ukraine from behind, let's say, and only after that attack Pokrovsk town. Also, by performing this offensive, Russia deflects Ukrainian forces from Pokrovsk direction. Ukraine is forced to defend this territory more, and Russia, well, it stores and collects its forces for one more huge strike, as our Ukrainian intelligence says. Where the strike could happen, in Pokrovsk direction, over here, I don't think so. Maybe in Toretsk or Pokrovsk. Yeah, you may see here's the pocket, but there are almost no villages here, so the tactical goal is absent, absolutely. This pocket over here, and Russia was successful attacking from this side. It could be profitable for Russia, and also they may concentrate the efforts to advance from Chasiv Yar to go to Konstantinovka. I would say from the tactical perspective and from strategical perspective, this is the most important part, but Pokrovsk, I would say, is even more important than Konstantinovka. So we'll see. For now, Russia is just capable to take some of the ground here where there are no villages for Ukraine to put the defense, and defense lines, they are working, but if the ground is very flat, as here, if there are no any natural obstacles, no hills, nothing, it's very difficult to defend the ground. Especially when Russia uses aviation gliding bombs. Still they use those. So yeah, I wouldn't say that the situation for Ukraine is great out there on the front lines, not at all, but Russia is unable to break behind Ukrainian defense and to go full in, occupying, for example, Dnipropetrovsk Oblast and going forward, here and there. No, Ukrainian defense is kind of solid, but our guys are forced to leave position to cause Russian losses from the other prepared position. So Ukraine is exchanging the ground for the heavy losses in Russia, and everything is happening very, very slowly. So this war might continue with the same pace for ages. That's why I would not say that Russia is reaching their result in Ukraine using military force. To the other news, here we have Elon Musk again. Anyone who campaigned on promise of reducing spending but continues to vote on biggest debt ceiling increase in history will see their face on this poster in the primary next year. And before he mentioned that primary will be lost for Republican Party if they vote for big beautiful bill, here is the poster: voted to increase American debt by $5 trillion. That's probably the biggest increasement, but you know, Donny wants golden age. He's incompetent to do it without this debt, so he wants to loan more and somehow calls Fed Reserve to print more dollars. That's the goal of Donny for the next 3 years, to have this visual prosperity, and what might happen after him, he doesn't really care. He doesn't want to apply reforms, he wants to be more or less stable president, and for that he needs money. For the next 3 years, America will be fine, but what is next? You cannot live forever with this huge debt, which is more than 32, I guess, trillion dollars, or maybe even more, plus 5. Well, someday it will backfire, my friends. Thankfully, that with the help of the American military and with the help of the dollar as the reserve currency, American economy is still the biggest out there, so this debt is actually, for now, is not that critical, but for the future generations, in like maybe 20 years, it could be a very big problem, so there should be reforms conducted, but not by Donald Trump. Donald Trump doesn't care. Yeah, I don't like Elon, but here I would agree with him that something should be done with the debt. And it's like a big bubble which could blow very, very hard, and everyone would feel it on this planet Earth. But Trump wants just to get more money from his presidency. What a clown, my friends. He's selling perfumes for men and for women. Trump fragrances are here. They're called Victory 45, 47, because they're all about winning, strength and success. Reminds me cryptocurrency, Trump and Melania, where Trump family scammed lots of the people. It was the rug pull indeed, and here we have this stuff selling everything out there. Phones made in China, perfumes made in, I don't know, Costa Rica. It's crazy, guys, what is happening. He's using the title of president in his own favor. He's not deserving to be a president. That's my opinion, my friends. You may agree with me, you may not agree, but I'm here on my channel. It is called Denis Davidev and it's me, so I may tell whatever I think. You may just react with your reaction, whether you like it or not, but in general, I tell what I think. And yeah, you may also put your opinion in the comments below. Well, guys, as you can see, for today there are no like outstanding news. However, those I presented are also kind of interesting. So guys, now please don't forget to press your huge like, subscribe for the channel, because by doing so you help me a lot, and I wish you all a peaceful sky wherever you are, and have a great time.